You are tuned in to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebs and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and enthogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck, Rico Lamitte, and Nichole West, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time. Thank you for getting high at 9 with us.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It's Friday, September 9th, 2022. And you know what else today is? That's right. It's National Teddy Bear Day. But nonetheless, thank you for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. We're live Monday through Friday on YouTube and audio only on Clubhouse. And if you're on Clubhouse, you can participate in the show by raising your hand if you have a brief comment on the story that's being presented. But without further ado, let's pay a bill real quick and come right back to the news.
At True Classic OG, we live by one motto: stay true. We stay true to our legacy cut of True OG that's always fresh, piney, gassy, and delicious. We represent the spirit, hustle, and diversity of our great city of angels. And we stay true to the spirit of this plant, doing everything in-house to ensure that you get the highest quality and consistency with every batch. And that's what's made us LA's favorite OG. True Classic OG. Stay true, Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right, baby. We made it to Friday. But coming up first, we have the dope dad himself. That when he's not babysitting, you can often find him in the hot summer heat wearing a snakeskin spider mash spandex tank top onesie in the heat of LA. That's right. The dope dad himself. And maybe, you might go and find him at a TEDx event where he's wearing his same daycare outfit. But nonetheless, it is none other than the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte.
Oh yeah, the unitard is for the weekdays, but it's the banana hammock on the weekends, bruh. So thank you for that phenomenal intro, Jason Beck, and welcome back, everyone. Thank you for tuning in and getting high with us once again at 9. My headline today is from Marijuana Moment by Kyle Yeager. California governor signs child welfare bill treating parental marijuana use just like alcohol. Back in April, we covered a story Kyle Yeager did highlighting a University of Mississippi study that found adult use legalization was tied to at least 10% decrease in foster care admissions on average, reduced physical abuse, neglect, parental incarceration, and misuse of alcohol and other drugs. It's potentially hundreds of millions of estimated state dollars saved yearly under federal legalization, should it happen. 420 was fast approaching a natural blowback to more states legalizing, with schools nationwide seeing an uptick in cannabis possession and usage amongst kids. The study inspired me and my wife, Jasmine, aka Social Work Sage. Give her a follow on IG. She's kind of a big deal. It inspired us to do an IG live together and maybe make a few of her majority school social worker base think twice before throwing the book at outed pot parents. Long story short, it was a hit. Our 420 info session ended up being her biggest live ever at the time, and we've been planning to do more joint Q&As to help educate her followers and dispel some of the myths being spread by other reefer madness, prohibition-mongering media. Well, it looks like we'll be doing a little game planning this weekend because Governor of California and heat wave fleece aficionado himself, Gavin Newsom, signed a bill into law this week, including provisions mandating social workers called to investigate child welfare cases, handle parental cannabis use the same as alcohol and prescription drugs. Sponsored by Assemblymember Reggie Jones Sawyer, the bill is one of 12 cannabis-related legislative issues sent to the Newsom's desk in the recent weeks. Under the new law, California Department of Social Services is required to update all regulations, all county letters, and other instructions relating to the investigation of a minor to stipulate whether when a social worker is investigating an alleged case of child abuse or neglect, a parent's or guardian's use of possession of cannabis is treated in the same manner as a parent's or guardian's use or possession of alcohol and legally prescribed medication. Sorry, that's a mouthful. Up until now, California laws regarding cannabis and parenting haven't been much different than other states, deeming adult use and medical consumption justification for removing custody, regardless of presence of child endangerment. In a summary for the bill, Jones Sawyer wrote, cannabis use alone should not be a basis for state intervention into family life. As is the case with alcohol and prescription medication, parents and guardians should be allowed to safely and legally use cannabis without fear of having their children permanently removed from their care, provided there are no other concerns regarding a child's safety. And I couldn't agree more. To my Golden State dope dads and Mary mamas out there, we can rest a bit easier going forward. Hopefully, at least on this issue, the rest of the nation can proudly follow our lead. Here's Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street, for High at 9 News. And I'm not crying, you're crying. Motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah. Rico, this is fantastic news for so many parents across the great state of California. Like, I know this has been something that has been plaguing many families throughout the state for a number of years, and I'm glad that now the governor had the courage to sign this bill, and Reggie Jones Sawyer had the courage to introduce it and get it passed. And so congratulations, California, and congratulations, parents and children across the state.
Yeah, this has been an issue regularly in California up until about a year ago. I had a friend that was an owner of a cannabis business and going through a divorce, and his business, literally owning this licensed business, was being used against him in his custody battle. And so, I mean, it is something that has been actively being used as, like, you know, being a drug addict or a drug user. And so to be able to look at it like that, I think is huge. And yeah, big win for California, big win for parents in California. And I know we were just talking about New York trying to do the same thing. So I hope that they follow suit.
Well, I applaud the efforts of California for getting this passed. I would prefer if the headline read that they were treating it like a prescription drug or something. To say that it's like alcohol, I think kind of also perpetuates this idea of just it's recreational fun use, when for a lot of people this is a necessary drug and should be treated like any other medical need that they have.
Didn't they say that?
Critique.
Didn't they say like alcohol?
It said one or the other. Yeah, I get it.
But I mean, I feel like it is both. For some people, I mean, I feel like all use is medical use deep down inside, but some people are just trying to get high, and that's okay. And some people, you know, are trying to have a whiskey on Friday night, and that's okay. And then some people need it every single morning to not choke motherfuckers at work.
I get that.
What about the road rage in California with all the traffic jams?
Are you saying they need to open it up to allowing people to smoke in their cars?
It's medical. Gretchen, you're right, though. If they would have put more focus on the medical side.
I'm not saying what you're saying. I said the headline is what
the top of it. Treat it like
it's like that's what people are going to glom onto. That's what the media is going to see. Like, that's my critique of the marijuana moment, not what they do.
I agree with you, Gretchen. But I know what they were doing here, because the biggest line of that resonates with a lot of people. They've been saying that for years, is you need to regulate it like alcohol. You need to treat it like alcohol. So I understand what they're doing to get people to click on it. But I do agree with you. They should have said alcohol and prescription drugs.
The original bill in Colorado was actually called RLA, or regulate like alcohol. And 75% of the ordinance was literally just the alcohol laws for consumption and sales pulled out, and then weed replaced with it. The original, like, Colorado regs were regulate like alcohol. So
we have a couple people from Clubhouse that want to speak on this. We have Dr. Felicia first, and then we have followed by Stephen.
Good morning, everyone. I kind of agree with Gretchen. I think the issue is that it's not so much the presence of a substance. How the big deal is, how are the children being treated? So I think that this legislation is the beginning of what sanity looks like, because America has the highest rate of kids put in foster care of any developed nation on the planet. A negative drug test alone does not make an individual fit to be a parent, nor does a positive drug test for cannabis alone make a parent unfit. So I think this is the beginning of some sanity, and I hope that it spreads across the country.
Amazing.
Yes,
Thank you
indeed.
so much for that, Dr. Felicia. Stephen, did you have a brief comment on this?
I do, of course, Jason. Thank you for having me up. This is a long time coming. I can't tell you how many friends, family, loved ones, Heather cultivators. This has been the number one fear of cultivating cannabis amongst parents for decades and decades. And I'm very, very grateful that the governor has signed this, that whoever brought the proposal to the governor to get passed is awesome. And one step forward, and I don't care how they got people to read this article. If it's just the generic alcohol versus cannabis, I'm fine with that, because they did mention medications in the article. I am very appreciative of it. And thanks for the High at 9 News, and thank you all for your time, effort, and everything you do.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Stephen.
Thank you so much. That's that was a really great story, Rico. I'm thankful for that. And like I said, I think we covered New York a couple of days back. They had that bill up. I hope that goes forward as well. And I hope that this is just a snowball effect of other states taking heed and saying, hey, let's not treat cannabis any different than medications or alcohol or whatever it takes. I think that is
and one more thing, if you guys click on that article, Kyle Yeager, he did a great job of breaking down the other initiatives and the other legislation that was sent to Gavin Newsom's desk, and he did updates on all of those too.
In our live stream chat, we have an amazing comment from the Anna Lewis, who says, I can use cannabis because I have the disease called life, and the human experience is a motherfucker.
You don't want to say the next one, which is that you have somebody that's going to be an opponent to your 2024 race, because El Guapo is going to be the campaign manager for Dr. Felicia 2024. With that said, up next, we got Jason Beck. Sounds like the candidate for president of 2024 up against Miss Dr. Felicia. But Jason Beck is the longest running retailer, member of whatever political party will piss you off, and our very own Kaiser Brose. What do you have for us today, Jason?
Oh, yeah. I hope everyone is ready for the weekend, because I'll tell you what, these people in my story are probably not ready for the weekend, because there's a place called Tacoma, Washington, and Tacoma Roy's clubs busted for illegal weed sales, and the state seized 1,300 pounds and 73 plants. That's right. Officials seized 1,300 pounds of cannabis products and arrested 3 people at 2 Pierce County businesses that were selling weed illegally, according to the Washington Liquor and Cannabis Board. The raids last week followed probes into Vinceri's Compassion Club in Tacoma and Red Barn Trading Post in Roy. According to a news release, officials are investigating how the unlicensed retailers obtained the seized pot. Well, I'll tell you what, someone probably walked up to their door and dropped it off. But nonetheless, after multiple public complaints about the stores, undercover officers purchased cannabis at both businesses, according to a news release. The Roy store also sold them illegal psilocybin mushrooms and peyote. Pierce County Sheriff's deputies and LCB officers executed a search warrant at the properties on August 30th, according to a news release. The seized material included cannabis concentrates and edible products, some of which would have been illegal to even sell at licensed retailers due to their THC serving sizes and appeals to children. Both stores both stores also operated illegal clubs, in quotation marks, where people could use cannabis products, according to a news release. We call those consumption lounges in California. LCB officers arrest and booked one person at Vicente's Compassion Club into the Pierce County Jail on cannabis-related crimes, according to a news release. Officials also seized 73 cannabis plants, about 800 pounds of cannabis products, growing supplies, cash, electronics, surveillance equipment, ballistic vests, and 2 firearms. A Facebook page for Vicente's Compassion Club described it as a club for medical marijuana users to buy medicine. The business thanks customers for their support in a post on Saturday that alluded to hard times and indicated the store remained open. Officers arrested and booked 2 uncooperative people at Red Barn Trading Post and will recommend charges related to distributing drugs and operating an illegal club, according to a news release. Officials seized about 400 pounds of cannabis products and psychopsilocybin and peyote products there too, cash, electronic devices, surveillance equipment, and 4 firearms. A person who answered the phone for the business said Red Barn and hung up when asked about the seizure. The only actions besides the recommendation of criminal charges that LCB will be taking forfeiture of the property that was seized as evidence, i.e. cannabis, cash, electronic devices, etc. The forfeiture is an administrative process required under RCW 69.50.505 because the business does not have a cannabis license issued. A standard administrative violation notice is not an option, as would be the case if they were licensed by the LCB. The Liquor and Cannabis Board spokesperson told the News Tribune that the forfeiture and recommendation of criminal charges are the only actions the agency can pursue against the business. The agency cannot issue fines or violation notices because neither was a licensed cannabis retailer. And the Pierce County Sheriff's Department is handling the criminal investigation. A spokesperson did not immediately return a request for additional information about the suspects police arrested. Well, I'll tell you what, trap stores exist everywhere. And this is what happens, when trap shops get raided. This is why you should be supporting local licensed retailers. But nonetheless, this is Jason Beck reporting for the High at 9 News Hour.
It took me a while to get to the point to understand that we were talking about a trap business. Like, I was listening to the story. I'm like, wait, and the psilocybin mush. Okay, this sounds great. But the fact that that's still like
psychoplebeian.
That's even like still such a thing that it's like run like a regular business in Washington, I think is crazy.
Right.
Because Washington's one of the oldest adult use markets in the nation. So
yeah, I mean, and they even closed down all their old medical stores when they went into the whole program. They didn't even grandfather everybody in.
I would just say that it sounds like
that's power right there.
It sounds like Tacoma police.
I wonder if this is just a window into the future of what will happen in New York, because they're going to be state-controlled businesses there as well.
I mean, I've been to some really nice trap shops here in LA.
You've been to some really nice trap shops?
Remember the church? Did you ever go to the church on Melrose? That thing was so nice. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, man, I remember that place.
There's some
no, it's just another trap shop. It's pretty impressive that it got such an article, but also that it sounds like they were pretty well developed. Like,
right. These motherfuckers.
I think that's the more interesting part for me.
Did a chain
reaction.
A shout out to GTR.
Right. Oh,
all
man.
Well,
well,
nobody wants to talk about
that
the
was
trap
amazing.
anymore, Jason. See, you're one of the only people that's super interested in the trap.
I'm always interested in the trap because you know what? They also make fly traps. You want to stay out of those.
Oh God.
It gets sticky.
Yes. Real sticky. Not like the weed. It's a bad kind of sticky.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, well, let's keep rolling with the stories. Up next, she is a business, agriculture, and efficiency specialist with over 12 years industry experience in the game. She's certified in 3 states as a bona fide bullshit buster and is High at Nine's in-house dirtbag expert. Coming to the stage next, it's the self-described data bitch herself, Nichole West.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm going to be real honest with you guys. I took some mushrooms this morning, so my reading skills might be a little bit delayed. I'll be reading slower. Maybe you guys will be able to understand me. So my article today, first of all, I just want to say this is the most... I do not condone this activity. This is the most snitch ass fucking article I've ever seen in my life. Okay, it's from the LA Times. And the headline reads, and I shit you not, nobody knows how widespread illegal cannabis grows are, so we mapped them. And this, okay, so let me pull up the map so we can all be on the same page here. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to show you guys. Somebody give me screen share ability. Pop me in. All right. So this is an aerial view. Apparently, what's happened is we've gone through this is a 2021 map where the government went through and heat mapped all you fucking grows. And so it's got circles around the ones that are legal and red spots around the ones that in fact are not. And my mind was fucking blown. Like I said, guys, I had to take some mushrooms today after reading the story because it stressed me out so bad that like I didn't know that I was going to be able to like deliver this story because I read the headline and then I like pushed it forward. But now let's talk about this fucking article. All right. So basically it states, since 2013, there's been grows that the Environmental Protection Agency in California, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, the Department of Agriculture have been actively kind of coming after. So what happened is they were able to get enough budget to spend the time taking and going through and mapping this so that they can explain how bad the problem is. And when we were talking, I think it was yesterday even, about the people coming to the grows with guns from the Department of Agriculture, if you're really thinking about it, like the number of red spots overlapping or like right next to the green spots, like you don't know where you're going as a Department of Ag person. And they're going to look at like stream water abatements and these like pretty serious issues. And people have fucking dogs and there's wild animals out there. And I think it's going to be a really hard push to make it through this for them actually going to be able to clean this part up. But at the end of the day, I was able to realize that they said all but 68 of the 782 farms in this picture were lacked a license in early of 2022. And so basically what they did is they just identified every place that there's cannabis plants. And one thing to know about cannabis is that it does grow at a slightly higher temperature. So you can heat map it even outside. A lot of this is satellite mapping. And as I showed you guys at the top of the article, they're looking at the satellites on top of the heat maps as well. And some of these places are like, fairly off the grid, which I think is, obvious as to why they're curious what's going on out there. But California's effort map began in 2013. So this map has been being developed for 7, 8, 9 years. And at the end of the day, there's 800 locations. And so if you don't think that they see you and that they're going to come give you a citation or something, you're wrong. And I'd say the next couple of years, shit's going to get fucking sketchy for these farmers up there that are doing it, traditional market outside of the small amount in being your own caregiver. Like there definitely is still the ability to grow your own product, but you can't be a commercial farmer like you used to be in California. So apparently 2022, Governor Gavin Newsom's office gave the first full look. And I just want to tell you, Rico, you might want to rename your company. It's called Cannavision. This product that they have on the state of California is called Cannavision. And that is the snitch software that they're using to come after people. For those of you who don't know, Rico owns a media company called Cannavision, not
It's spelled different.
Cannavision.
Yeah, it's Cannavision.
Cannavision. My point is the software is called Cannavision. And they've been using this now for 2 years actively, ready for the public launch. The governor's office was represented by Newsom's senior cannabis advisor, Nicole Elliott, who had approved this originally as well. Days later, after rolling this product out, it was killed and the website was taken down. Okay, so this was public fucking knowledge for a little while out in the world. According to documents released under the state's public records, even public relations staff spent months honing in on the media packages and were not told why it was pulled. The deputy water agency director who led, why? Because people are gonna get fucking robbed and chaos is gonna happen. The deputy water agency director who had led the presentation to Elliott described the situation as a giant clusterfuck. It doesn't say fuck, but it says fuck. And told fellow directors he would explain by only private chat. Elliott didn't recall making specific comments or objections to the meeting at spokesperson for the Department of Cannabis Control, but the best of her knowledge, there was a discussion related to the data quality and the use of the resources as the investigation tool. The water agency that, after the briefing with Elliott, said received questions about the accuracy of the data from unnamed participants, and decisions were made that Cannavision was still in its infancy stage and would the rollout would be fully premature. So international discussion or internal discussions show that they struggle to provide the reason why to keep Cannavision confidential, because that's the part that I was the most confused about. Like, was it a public thing or was it confidential? It was apparently originally supposed to be public, and then they were like, why did we want to make that public? We need to put all of our nefarious hats on and think how someone could use that data to ill, the Cannavision's developer wrote. I think the story, we should try to slow the release for a while, since we don't really have the full picture of how a bad actor could use this. Obviously, why the fuck would you put this out as public record and put it out on a website? Like, my mind is blown. So with that said, this data is out there. Be cautious, be careful, be aware, be safe out there, because this was literally just the biggest snitch fucking map I've literally ever seen in my life. Who knows how good the data is? But if you don't know what the fucking Wayback Machine is, government, figure it the fuck out, because you can't put something on the internet and take it away. And I'm Nichole West, getting epically high at 9 on a Friday. Sorry my reading skills weren't great, but I'm fucking heated, guys.
Maybe, I'm just wondering, maybe they put this information out there because they're hoping that the streets will go and close these places down with robberies and what forth, and then that way they don't have to go and do the dirty work themselves, and they can save the taxpayers some dollars.
Look at the big picture. Look at the big picture.
It's a treasure map for the cannabis purge. Like, they're going to take to the streets and start a war. Now, that's crazy. I was blown away to see that on a map. Like, I had no idea. I mean, I knew there was a lot out there. But
let me pull it up again.
This
I want you guys to
this
look
is
at
even
this.
a bigger case to make for
while we talk.
You got to do your shit indoor.
That's right. Even more the reason, because I don't see any indoor grows mapped on here. These are all outdoor grows.
Right.
And so even more the reason why you should only be growing indoor weed.
Any geek on the street can get him a drone and fly it over your shit. Right, like any geek on the street with a drone can fly over your shit, videotape you and all that shit. Make sure you guys keep your shit quiet and indoors, right, Jason?
Like, this is insane. Why would they put it out there though? Like, why would they?
I mean, we ask that question about government, why they do the things they do
Dude,
all the
remember
time.
when California accidentally sent the email with everyone's address?
Yes.
That was amazing. There was one of the government agencies sent an email to every grow in California with a list of every grow in California and their full address.
Nichole, where is this for us non-Californians? This
Northern
is
California, the top of Northern California.
Okay.
Well, it's pretty much everywhere.
It is everywhere, but this map that the water department focused on was north of San Francisco.
This is all NorCal. This is all big NorCal outdoor booth grows. But we do have Steven from the audience who is a Northern California outdoor cultivator.
Yes, I am a Northern California outdoor cultivator. As coming from the medical industry, my location has been out there forever, and I've known it. But yeah, no, I can verify that it's probably a 10-to-1 ratio of legal farms to illegal farms out here. And since it's basically a slap on the hand, and trust me, these are not farms that you want to go to. And there is a reason why these people are the agencies should be carrying guns.
Thank you.
Because these people are not nice people. They're quote unquote Eastern Europeans who own one legal farm but 10 illegal farms, and they filter all their illegal farms through their legal farm and flood the fucking market. So this has been a problem. It's been a problem for a long time up here. I'm partially happy that they're no longer doing it like in national forest as much, but nonetheless they're just buying up properties because it's disposable money for them, and their idealism is they can't bust them all. So that's why they have 10 of them. One's legal, 9 aren't. And that's the way it's been running for the last at least 5 years, guys.
Stephen, this is Gretchen. I got a quick question for you. Last time I was up in the Humboldt area, I remember seeing National Guardsmen up there raiding farms. Is that still a thing? Is Newsom still doing that?
Like camp? Aren't they bringing camp back?
There, I have seen quite a lot of helicopters in the sky lately, much more than previous years. I haven't witnessed any of it, but yeah, no, I've heard of it. I can neither confirm or deny that, though.
Stephen, I think most of those helicopters were all Canavision helicopters because they were trying to get all
This
these
motherfucker.
red dots in place.
That's a
This
good
motherfucker.
possibility. That's a good possibility,
All right.
but they're trying to hang everybody up as much as they can, and I highly doubt that the goal is to have the quote unquote streets handle these grows, because the law enforcement won't even go to these grows. Why?
Thank you so
Because they
much
don't
for
have
your
a
comment
they,
on that. We are so appreciative of this. We are super short on time, so we're going to have to cut you off. I'm so sorry, Stephen. Thank you, though, for coming up and all of your amazing opinions and thoughts on that. And thank you, everyone, for chiming in on this article. Like, as I said, as I struggled through all of that. So let's do the disclaimer and see how we go here. The thoughts and opinions in general shade thrown at the High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers, not those of any other speaker or its followers. The statements made do not constitute legal or accounting advice. Make no representation regarding the legal status of any substance, any country, area, territory of its authorities. The views expressed in this room do not establish fiduciary relationships. Our sponsors do not apply. They constitute any endorsement by us, the expression of opinions whatsoever of any part of any speaker or anyone on stage. If you're an easily offended person, the show is probably not for you. Also, fuck off.
Do those words just like float across the screen?
Oh man, maybe.
Oh, sorry, wrong button. Flying into LAX and you want to taste some of the best weed in the world? Then stop by LAXCC, the closest dispensary to LAX, located at 8332 Lincoln Boulevard and open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. Always make LAXCC your first stop when you touch down in LA and score like a winner. And don't forget to tell them I sent you and mention you'd like to get High at 9 for 10% off your full order.
Coming up next, she splits her days and nights between cooking delicious treats and battling out on Washington streets. She's a full-time, feisty, red-headed conservative with Mayflower roots and an unhealthy love for safe banking. Coming up next is our very own Washington insider and the founder of Panoptic Strategies, Gretchen Gailey. What you got for us on this beautiful Friday?
Good afternoon, Rico. My headline is coming from Marijuana Moment. And the headline is Senate Marijuana Banking Sponsor Gives Details About Forthcoming Safe Plus Reform Package. A key U.S. senator believes it's time to close the deal on a marijuana reform package that he says will include provisions to protect banks that work with state legal cannabis businesses, as well as equity components to build support from lawmakers who have held out for broader justice-focused change. However, a key financial services regulator is tempering expectations about the prospects of Congress getting the job done this session. Senator Jeff Merkley, the sponsor of the standalone Safe Banking Act in the Senate, spoke at the PBC conference on Thursday, just yesterday, discussing the so-called Safe Banking Plus bill that sources say is near completion following bicameral and bipartisan talks. While the final text has not been released, and Senator Cory Booker previously said that the marijuana omnibus legislation likely won't be advanced until after the November midterm elections, Merkley said the proposals to facilitate expungements of cannabis convictions, specifically those that occurred in now legal states, and fund community grant and reinvestment programs are expected to be included. That would help address pushback from advocates over the standalone Safe Banking Act, which is viewed as principally favorable to large industry interests without deliberately addressing concerns about equity in the market. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Booker have made clear that they aren't willing to advance the Safe Banking Act as drafted, even though the bill has cleared the House in some form 7 times. The two senators, along with Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ron Wyden, filed a large-scale legalization bill in July, but there are serious doubts about the prospects of advancing that through the Senate with the required 60-vote threshold. Schumer and Booker have more openly embraced the idea of a compromise, as the leader has worked to build consensus on the alternative package incremental reforms. Those talks have included Representative Dave Joyce and other lawmakers from both parties and both chambers. Attendees of the PBC chat, as well as conference staff, told Marijuana Moment that Merkley provided basic details about the plus part of the pending legislation at the event, encouraged business leaders to reach out to Senate officials and urge them to get a decision memo before undecided lawmakers to show support for the reform proposal. According to Jeremy Burke, Business Insider reporter, he said, "It's time to close the deal on safe banking. Plus, no one has paid a political price ever for supporting cannabis in this country." Burke also noted that Merkley expressed frustration that some lawmakers who should be allies have been obstacles to enacting the incremental reform because they have been holding out for more. While the tone that Merkley set was optimistic, others are less confident that there's enough time to pass the marijuana package this session. Rodney Hood, a former chairman of the National Credit Union Administration and current board member of the agency, also spoke at the PBC conference and said he'd be surprised if Congress moved on the issue this year. I was in attendance at the conference and I heard Merkley's statements. I don't think they were that earth-shattering, but we shall see if something is going to go forward with safe banking. I do believe that something will come about in some form or other. Others are less optimistic. I do expect to see something happen during the lame duck session. One point that Merkley made that we have been making over and over again is you need to reach out to your lawmakers. If you look at the Safe Banking Act on the Senate side, it has 42 sponsors. You do the math. There's plenty of senators who are in legal states that have not signed on to this bill. So get these guys on board. Reach out to your lawmakers. If you are and you can easily find the co-sponsors of who's on the bill and who's not. Shit, I'll put it out there for anyone who wants to figure it out. I'll give you the list of who the co-sponsors are. Take a look at them. And truly, he said, write a letter. I know this sounds stupid. I understand we love email, we love text, we love discourse, all this bullshit. These old people like letters. Send a letter, send an email. That's how you're going to get support for legislation across these guys. That's what they believe in. This is Gretchen for High at 9 News.
Hey, Gretchen, thank you for covering this. Do you think we should be writing handwritten notes or should it be like printed out? What would get a better response? You think like the personal touch? Because I have really nice cursive.
Truly, no, don't write anything out because then that looks a little juvenile. And plus, they need to be able to read it. So type letters.
Well, Gretchen, wouldn't you say it depends on how good your penmanship is?
I would not risk your penmanship on some staffer's eyeballs. I would go with a type.
What if you have like beautiful cursive and it looks like
I took calligraphy classes when I was young.
I'm sure it's
what if come on, it looks like it's from 1902 when they were born so that they could have nostalgia.
Well, it would be nice to believe that these guys actually look at the letters. They do not. Some 12-year-olds
just their young staffer
opening the mail and they're
saying, type it and then sign it by hand.
No, listen to
me. So should I write it? Should I say,
you have to write a letter, bro? Like we're trying to understand.
You got to realize Nicole's on mushrooms right now. So Gretchen, please proceed.
All right. Anyway, so for those who want help in this regard, you can go to my website, panopticstrategies.com. I will provide you a form letter to send to any of your lawmakers on how to support safe banking, or if you have another issue out there, let me know. I might consider writing something else. But right now, I love safe banking, so that's what we're going for.
That's why we're going to pass safe banking already.
I will give you the proper email, how to send it to people. I'll even tell you who your damn lawmaker is if you don't fucking know.
Gretchen, two things real quick.
Omar.
When they do that, thank you for being a resource. Nobody has resources like that on their motherfucking show like we do. So please, thank you. And could you repeat your website? Because I was talking at the same time, so I apologize. Can you repeat your website?
It is Panoptic, pan, like a frying pan, optic-strategies.com.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much.
Omar. Gretchen is really pretty today.
Omar Figueroa
I have
has
to tell
something.
you, you're looking fly.
Omar Figueroa, I believe, has something to say on this.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Omar, are you with us?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Gretchen, for really explaining people how to do it. I would say also make sure that the font is like an older person font. That means 14 and
Don't
higher.
do Comic Sans.
Oh, he's talking about the size. He said at least needs to be 14 points or higher.
Is Courier New creepy?
Is Times New Roman the go-to?
I am a big fan of the Times New Roman.
Arial.
Size 12. You can double space if you like. But truly, it's a kid who's reading this, not your lawmaker. The lawmaker says, how many letters did I get this week? And the kid will say, I got 600 letters on safe banking. And he'll be like, what the hell's safe banking? And then they go through it and explain it, and then that's how it all works.
That's right.
I got size 13.
So right, Gretchen.
Also, Anna thinks you look pretty today too, Gretchen.
Thank you, Anna.
We're at time on this story, though.
Stone, you look pretty today.
Oh God!
Stone looks pretty every day.
Oh my goodness, Jesus Christ! Here we go.
Jason,
in an industry
Jason,
full of snakes, fakes, and flakes,
you're 7
in
today.
the great red state of Texas, with trolls posting up daily, smoking Delta 8 under the bridge. This other fellow dope dad has been hitting the high road with Sensi Magazine. That's right. He's the host and co-creator of the new show, Seeking the High Road While Seeking the Truth and Searching for Some Decent Weed. It is none other than the Stone Slade.
Thank you, Jason Beck. Today, my story comes out of Florida. Florida AG Commissioner Nikki Fried has held a press conference in Tallahassee yesterday with cannabis advocates to take shots at Governor Ron DeSantis after they launched attacks on patient rights by rolling out new caps on medical cannabis. Late Friday afternoon, August 26th, cannabis patients and their doctors were notified by email from the Department of Public Health's Office of Marijuana Use that the allowable patient dosages were going to be cut by 69.4% effective the following Monday. To put this into perspective, Nikki Fried said with less than 3 days' notice, patient access would be reduced by 2/3. She went on to call the change unnecessary. The implementation was poorly notified, and the impact was extremely harmful, with hundreds of thousands of patients in Florida no longer able to access their medicine in the quantities they need for effective treatment as determined by their doctors. Florida now has over 800,000 medical cannabis patients that were affected by the newly implemented caps. Commissioner Fried calls the move a lack of understanding of medical cannabis by the Department of Health and the Office of Medical Marijuana Use at best, and an act of cruelty at worst. She went on to call the DeSantis administration for making the move as an emergency rule, which allowed them to quietly pass the legislation without having to hear from cannabis patients and advocate groups. Emergency Rule 64ER22-8 restricts medical cannabis patients to 24,500 milligrams of THC per 70-day period. For some patients, the new restrictions subvert doctors' recommendations and restrict them from buying the medicine until they're below the rolling cap. Dr. Barry Gordon, who serves on the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Medical Marijuana Advisory Commission, that's a mouthful, also spoke at the press conference. Dr. Gordon, who's been a cannabis prescribing doctor for 6 years, said cannabis can be utilized safely and effectively by the citizens of the state of Florida, noting that his patients want safe and legal palliatives, and the new caps get in the way of the doctor-patient relationship. You need all the roots, and the doctor should not be encumbered. This isn't the first time Commissioner Fried has criticized DeSantis when it comes to the state's cannabis industry. Her previous complaint centered on increasing access for smaller capital and minority growers to enter Florida's surging cannabis space, a topic she revisited Thursday. And she also objects to the end of the telehealth for doctor consultations, which were allowed during the pandemic, but were ended last year under the DeSantis administration. One thing is clear, and that's Governor DeSantis doesn't have a clue when it comes to cannabis. Obviously doesn't take cannabis seriously. He's previously talked about cannabis negatively to the press, stating, I don't like it. It's like when you go to these places that have done it, the stench when you're there, I mean, it smells so putrid. But more recently, the Florida governor has nefariously suggested that the price to play in the highly commercialized Florida market should go up. DeSantis said, I would charge them an arm and a leg. I mean, everybody wants these licenses, which eerily suggests that he sees a value in restricting market access, a move that would favor big money national and international corporations over in-state providers of the same product. All I see here is a mega turd looking to exploit Sweet Mary Jane, and while stomping on patients' rights with this ridiculous cap will no doubt do harm to the patients and to the legal market, while the legacy market obviously will thrive. I was hoping to have Dr. Gordon in the room to get his comments on this. I don't know if he joined us in Clubhouse.
We do have Dr. Barry Gordy in the room. Do you have something to say on this, Dr. Gordy?
Yeah. Hey, listen, it's an honor to be asked. Thanks, Stone, for that. And, Jason And Zaza, I love the room. Loved it before, love it now. Remember us Easterners, right? So we need a fun, catchy phrase for the noon hour for us.
It's high noon. It's high noon.
High noon,
on the
of
East
course.
Coast,
How could I be
Dr.
so
Berry.
dumb?
High noon.
Exactly. You got it. But I love listening to you guys during my noon hour. So listen, I was honored to be in Tallahassee yesterday, standing with Commissioner Freed, also Jody James, who is Florida Cannabis Action Network. And for anybody who wants to get involved, it's very easy to find the petition to sign that does go to Governor DeSantis. And I would recommend doing so. Listen, I've been a medical cannabis provider since January of 2017. It's an honor to practice for each and every one of my patients. And listen, I love I was biting my tongue earlier because I wanted to pop on, but I knew I'd have a chance to get the stage. The comment about life being as it is in 2022 is exactly why I do what I do every day with honor and integrity and education. Each and every citizen, human being existing in 2022 needs safe, legal, education to cannabis.
Perfect.
All the cannabinoids, not just THC, but CBD, CBC, CBG, and all the rest. We need to know about them and how to use them. Not just the smokable, quote unquote, form of cannabis, but
Dr.
whole
Berry.
flower form and everything else.
Dr.
Topicals,
Berry,
patches.
You're totally right, but we have a very short show with a
I
very
got
limited
it. I
amount of
got
time,
it.
my friend.
I got it.
Thank you
I
so
got
much
it.
for
So
coming
it's an
up.
honor. I'll do it again.
I
Anytime
appreciate
you
it.
need me, Jason, I'm back with you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Berry. But I do have a brief comment on this because I find this one angle extremely interesting, that her comments are directed at Governor DeSantis and not at gubernatorial candidate Charlie Crist on the Democrat side. He's not. They're not saying, "Hey, when we take office, we're going to do this." They're saying, "Hey, Governor DeSantis, you need to do this," which means that even they believe that Governor DeSantis is going to take the great state of Florida in the 2022 election cycle.
They're addressing him because he is in control right now, dude.
No. They're addressed. If they wanted to take the ball and they believe that they were going to win, they would say, you know what? If you don't do something about it now, we're going to do something about it as soon as we're in office. Okay, but they didn't say that. They said, hey, Governor DeSantis, will you please do this for us? Like they're waving the white flag because they know they've already lost.
Stop it. Governor DeSantis behind on issuing licenses, all mess of things. I think it was good to throw him under the bus during the election. The guy deserved it.
You're reaching, Jason.
No, I'm not reaching at all. But we got to get to our next speaker because we're running low on time.
All right. Hold up. Oh, it's on me. My bad.
Yeah, come on, man.
Up next, this multi-talented attorney is the founder of a bi-coastal boutique cannabis law firm with offices in California and New York. He's the NCIA director, a legal publisher, an author, ganjier, and a purple belt in high-style Brazilian jiu-jitsu, reserving his right to fuck you up at any time with his knowledge, weed, or hands, all of which have been registered as weapons of moderate destruction. Coming to the stage is Omar Figueroa.
Thank you, Rico. Happy Friday, everyone. My story is from the Jewish News of Northern California by Rabbi James Kahn. The headline is Finding Awe in the Days of Awe with Cannabis. Last week marked the beginning of the Hebrew month of Elul and the official run-up to the Jewish high holidays. In Hebrew, the high holidays are called Yamim Noraim, literally days of awe. Essentially, awe is the reason for the season. To get us there, Jewish tradition employs a host of spiritual technologies, from fasting to prayer and maybe even weed. In early 2020, archaeologists at Tel Arad, a biblical-era shrine in southern Israel, and scale model of the temple in Jerusalem, made a radical discovery. A 2,700-year-old mixture of cannabis and cow dung was found in the hollows of two altars adorning the entrance to the shrine's innermost sanctum, analogous to the Kodesh HaKodashim, the Holy of Holies, at the temple in Jerusalem. For ancient Israelites, there was no more sacred space. The Holy of Holies was viewed as God's home on earth, the literal center of the known world. only the high priest could enter, and only once a year on Yom Kippur, at the conclusion of the days of awe. To think that cannabis was part of that meeting of human and divine, at least as it unfolded at Tel Arad, is mind-blowing. And it wasn't just any cannabis. The residue found inside Tel Arad's altars was rich in THC, the chemical responsible for the cannabis high. When burned alongside cow dung, which combusts slowly and at low temps, the mixture would have produced a potent cloud of psychoactive smoke. It appeared the high priest may actually have been just that. If the days of awe are to serve as an antidote to indifference, cannabis may be just what the doctor ordered. Puns aside, as a rabbi who has spent the last decade working in the cannabis space, I see the connection. Consider that even the most exaggerated stereotypical images of cannabis consumption reflect the plant's capacity to elicit awe-inspiring experiences. A stoner takes a few puffs off a joint and the mundane becomes magical. Mediocre pizza is transformed into a delicacy, and the short hike feels like venturing into the Garden of Eden. When used with intention, cannabis can cultivate feelings of wonder and awe. For those open to experimenting during this high holiday season, here are some tips. Dosage matters. The spiritual benefits of cannabis can be easily overshadowed by consuming too much. As with everything in life, moderation is key. 2, choose your setting carefully. Surround yourself with people you trust and whose presence lifts you up. Using cannabis in unfamiliar settings or around strangers may induce feelings of anxiety and paranoia. If this happens, don't worry. Cannabis is incredibly safe, and any unpleasant feelings will pass with time. 3, set kavanah or intention. Before imbibing, create an intention for your cannabis experience. You may wish to experience awe or a sense of inner peace, or simply connect more deeply with a friend. Whatever your intention, state it out loud, even if no one is around. And so my take on this is that Rabbi Khan's advice is most copacetic, and I wish other Judeo-Christian religious leaders shared this historical understanding of cannabis as a crucial ingredient used in making the holy anointing oil. I've been anointed with holy anointing oil myself, and the experience makes one most high. The headline is Finding Awe in the Days of Awe with Cannabis. This is Omar Figueroa, lawyer, publisher, and Ganjier instructor, reporting from Sonoma County for High at 9, High Noon Eastern.
I love this story, Omar. And, since you mentioned the mixture of the weed and poo, I just took me back to Cheech and Chong, and I wonder how high he really got when he smoked that Labradoodle joint.
Labrador.
Oh my gosh. We are a little short on time, so we want to make sure that we jump to our next correspondent. So thank you so much for that headline, Omar. And I don't know if I'm going to be trying cow dung and weed anytime soon, but
In
I
your
definitely
rosin press.
will share with some friends.
Cow patties
But
life.
would you make what? Up next, we have Dr. Gene Talleyrand. Gene is actually the doctor that gave Jason Beck one of his first medical recs, I believe. He's a real industry OG with a proven track record representing the people with the utmost compassion. Also the founder of Medican and the co-founder of the nonprofit Cannabis Research Organization at CESC. Doctor, what do you have for us today?
Thanks. Happy Friday, everyone. Thanks for that great story, Omar. I love the spiritual nature of it. My headline today is from Normal. Vaporized cannabis shows limited efficacy for various symptoms of Tourette syndrome. A syndrome is a collection of symptoms that frequently occur together. In other words, we don't know much about why it occurs. Tourette syndrome is characterized by sudden, repetitive, rapid, unwanted movements or vocal sounds called tics. Many people associate Tourette's with outbursts of obscene or socially inappropriate words. However, only 1/3 of people with Tourette's make obscene remarks. Those who have outbursts find it difficult to deal with public places, school, work, or even home. Just getting through the day can be excruciatingly difficult. Doctors previously thought that Tourette's was a psychological disorder. Today, most scientists agree that Tourette's is a neurological disorder with unknown causes. Tics come and go over time. They first appear between the ages of 5 and 10, usually in the head and neck area. Motor tics typically appear before vocal tics or outbursts. The tics usually get worse in the early teen years and become more controlled by late teens or early 20s. Tics worsen with excitement or anxiety and improve during calm or focused activities. Imagine trying to calm your excitement or anxiety as a teenager. Canadian researchers performed a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled crossover study on 9 people with Tourette's. In prior studies, patients had reported a reduction in tic severity, improved sleep, and improved mood after using cannabis. This study controlled the type of cannabis and dosage used. Each participant vaporized a quarter gram of either type 1, 2, 3, or placebo cannabis flowers once every 2 weeks. The type 1 cannabis had only 10% THC, type 2 had 9% each of THC and CBD, and type 3 had 13% CBD with very little THC. 4 different survey scales were used to assess the frequency and severity of the tics after cannabis use. The type 1 or 10% THC flowers worked best. Type 2 or 1-to-1 THC and CBD were a little less effective than type 1. And type 3 CBD flowers did not have any significant effects. Type 1 and 2 cannabis improved urge for tics, symptoms of distress, and overall well-being. Type 1 flowers also had more cognitive and psychological adverse events. The researchers admitted that it was difficult to draw conclusions from a small sample of 9 participants. There are a handful of patients with Tourette's that I treat who use cannabis on a regular basis. Their ages range from 18 to 46. On average, they smoke half a gram of type 1 cannabis, closer to 20% THC, 3 to 4 times per day. Some just smoke 1 time per day, and others may smoke up to 8 to 10 times per day. One patient, the 18-year-old, tried a CBD tincture without success and is next planning to try a 1-to-1 THC CBD tincture. Outside of the 18-year-old, they all reported improved symptoms with cannabis use. When it comes to cannabis, collecting real-world data complements traditional study design. Observational studies of Tourette's demonstrate significant improvement with medical cannabis. The studies illustrate a wide range of dosage and variable experiences with cannabis. Along with my experience, they highlight that cannabis is not a one-size-fits-all medicine. The studies show that it's difficult to investigate a multi-agent, multi-target botanical using traditional trial methods, and that including observational design allows for a paradigm shift in how we conceive studying cannabis as medicine. This is Dr. Jean Talleyrand reporting for the High at 9 or High Noon News Hour.
All right, everybody. I know we're at the top of the hour. That was an excellent story, Dr. Jean. And but we have a breaking news update. 1 second here.
What's the news?
Breaking news update for High at 9 News. Marijuana moment. They announced this right as we were getting through our pre-production shit. Joe Biden does not plan any marijuana moves ahead of midterms. White House has suggested. Dr. Jean Kier, the press secretary lady, she went out there and told everybody there's more pressing issues before midterms. He ain't talking about weed no more.
This ain't breaking news.
That's not breaking news.
That's it.
All right. Well,
Bam.
thank you for that pseudo breaking.
Yeah,
That was a
don't expect
Obviously.
nothing in the midterms.
Yeah. Anyways, catch us Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big thank you to our sponsors, audience supporters, to all of the correspondents that came on today, to everyone for tuning in, to True Classic and LAXCC for helping us eat. Thank you for weed and mushrooms today for helping me not have brain aneurysm. And thank you to 3 is 4 for helping us be a little bit better at what we're doing every single day. I'd say about 17%. So thanks for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us, y'all. Run the outro music, guys.
You are tuned in to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebs and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and enthogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck, Rico Lamitte, and Nichole West, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time. Thank you for getting high at 9 with us.